Welcome to Elevate eCommerce, the podcast where we elevate your e-commerce game. Join our host, Hi Mag, CEO of Eva, as he shares the latest strategies in Amazon, omnichannel, and advertising. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting, Hi's insights and expert interviews will help you thrive in the e-commerce world. Tune in for practical tips and transformative success stories to elevate your business to new heights.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Elevate eCommerce, and today I have a fantastic guest from Europe, Lithuania, Klaidas Siuipys. I hope the last name was right. That's the way that I pronounce it. But Klaidas comes from AMZBs. He's the founder, and he, I think, founded almost like 6 years ago. So he has a vast amount of experience about the last 6 years of Amazon, maybe even before.
About 8 or 9, I think.
8 and 9 years, which means that he was almost there from the beginning. As 9 years ago, it was all about, the people who bought this book also purchased that book. That was Amazon like
the
10
good old
years
days.
ago. Good old days, and everybody was happy. You just list the product and put a couple of keywords and you're done. Right now it's very, very sophisticated. So Klaidas, I appreciate if you can introduce yourself, the company, and then we can take it from there.
Sure. Thanks for having me in the first place. So yeah, my name is Klaidas. I manage AMZBs. We're a full account management agency. So we take care of realistically everything that needs to be taken care of, from the account strategy to the product launch to the advertising to the catalog issues, the technical stuff. Most of our clients, they're focusing on logistics and developing new products, and we're essentially their team to grow their Amazon business to its full potential. That's pretty much more or less what we do.
Got it. Are you only focused on Amazon, or are you taking care of anything omnichannel as well?
So currently it's just Amazon. I have a very specific approach to business, and one of it is focus, and very, very strict focus. The reason why I didn't focus even more into just advertising, as there are so many advertising agencies out there, is because I started in the Lithuanian market, and this is a 2.5, 2.8 million people country, and essentially, if it's just an advertising agency, it's not enough. So I had to do, the full Amazon spectrum. But we're not going to other markets. A lot of it I see is as you either have to be much bigger than we are, and we are currently about 23 people in the team, where you really have to dedicate a lot of resources if you really want to be good at what you do. And I chose, for the time being, to be very, very good at what we do, which is Amazon.
No, it makes perfect sense. And one of the things you mentioned, I personally, I don't want to say I don't like, but I don't think that working with a PPC only or advertising only agency is the right thing to do, because there is a lot of things that impact the organic growth, even advertising itself, which hopefully we will talk about all of them. And if they are not covered well, like inventory, organic growth, profit, then focusing just on advertising is not really delivering the best results.
That is a good point. I mean, realistically, it does depend on the seller themselves, because we have met sellers, to whom we said, well, we can't really work together. It doesn't make sense for you to work with us, right? We would point them to one of the great advertising agencies, because they have a great structure. They have a great team that takes care of the catalog. They have a great strategist behind them who understand Amazon. And for those types of businesses, going to a PPC only agency might make sense, but they have to really coordinate things. When a seller's working with a full account management agency, it's more about that agency, they get the things that they need because they have access. Advertising agencies, they don't really have that much access or the ability to influence things, because we will take care of the visuals, we will take care of the conversion, we'll take care of the SEO, we'll take care of the advertising, and at the end of the day, we'll take care of stock management to make sure that there's actually enough stock to sell in Prime, in the T5 and Prime and any other day. So what you are saying, it definitely rings true, with obviously exceptions where there always are.
Absolutely, yeah. It depends on the seller's capabilities and
Sure.
the Amazon people on the seller side as well. But I mean, it doesn't change the fact that when I look at the prospects that we talk all the time, 70% of them has an advertising problem. Or when I think about like our own failures, 70% are related to advertising. So the advertising strategy plays a fundamental role.
Absolutely.
And that comes to my first question, like what is your and AMZB's advertising strategy when you start working with a
Yeah.
customer?
So essentially, obviously, when there's an account that's already running, the products that are already running, you can't really change things too much. Realistically, you kind of do it slow and steady. Um, with the products that are already launched, eventually we want to get to a structure where we have the one target per campaign. Whether we're using software, so we make sure to use a software that can work with that, or if we're not using software, obviously it's a lot of manual work with the bulk files, but getting to a point where we have one keyword or one competitor ASIN target per campaign, especially if they're exact match and especially if they actually matter, that gives us the absolute most flexibility. We also do prefer to have where we can, meaning that, if the account has 300 products, it's a bit different. But if we're working with, 5 or 10 SKUs, we like to have 4 separate automatic campaigns, right? Separated by the group, by the targeting type. In some cases, the broad and phrase match and with the broad modifiers, they are in their own campaigns bundled to 10, 15 keywords. But eventually, it gets to a point after about a year or so, even if it's just one product, where we're managing 2 to 3 to 4, sometimes 10,000 active campaigns, mainly because a lot of those campaigns, they're one target per campaign. This gives us the absolute most flexibility. In one of my most favorite ways to actually rank a product, it's through the top of search. Because essentially, on the top of search, we have the absolute, in most cases, we have the absolute highest conversion rate. We have some of the highest click-through rates. Obviously, the price is also the highest, but in a lot of cases, we have lower ACoS in the top of search, basically because it converts better. So we usually try to shoot for the second top of search position, because it's not as expensive as the first, but we found that the second one gives similar benefits as the first. Now, when we're launching a new product, now that does depend a lot on the niche itself, but what we like to do in the beginning is make sure the algorithm understands what the product is. So essentially what we do, and again, not in all cases, but in the cases where it really makes sense, is to we start by targeting sometimes the highest, but also most relevant keywords from 5 to 10 keywords, plus similar things with the competitor ASINs, and we try to target them hard, meaning that even though we are not hoping to rank on those top keywords, because usually a product with no reviews, with not much history, won't really have a chance to rank in the top performing highest volume keywords. But what it will do, if we get enough sales and if we get enough clicks and conversions, add to carts, etc., this will show the algorithm that yes, this product fits on those keywords. If it fits on those keywords and those competitor ASINs, it does connect the advertised product to those keywords and those ASINs and those keyword families. Essentially, after that part, when we launch the auto campaigns or broad match campaigns, we can see what the algorithm is targeting. And in a lot of cases, if the first part has been done well, it will be targeting similar keyword families, it will be targeting similar ASINs, and generally ASINs that are related to your product. Obviously, for that to work, it has to be categorized correctly and all the other things. But essentially, this is usually the start. And after it just depends on the amount of money that you can kind of spend on that product, and the depth or the wideness that you want to really go for. And that is just based on the product and on the budget. In some cases, after the initial phase, we try to condense it as fast as possible. Sometimes takes 1 to 2 days, sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks, which is unfortunate when it takes 2 weeks, because the mystical honeymoon period, the initial boost that we usually have, it's usually about 30, 40 something days. But after that, you just start creating a lot of campaigns from the data that is Amazon is giving, that the tools are giving, and start testing a lot. And eventually things pick up.
Right. Well, thanks for that very detailed, almost like step-by-step success guide
I'm not
to
sure
advertising.
how detailed you want it, you want me to be,
No,
but
that was perfect. And one of the things that I like, because it's always a debate in the industry, is that one
uh,
get per
different ways work,
campaign. There are
different
different ways.
things.
But I
Yeah.
mean, because we are developing, for example, at the EVA PPC automation,
Mhm.
and you need to pick one way, right? And the best way with AI and automation is to have also one target per campaign, so
Well,
that
yeah,
you
because you
can
can do
easily
everything.
measure. And then you can also
Yeah.
measure the tacos easily, right?
Yeah.
Because if the products and targets are all mixed in under one campaign, then it becomes very difficult to also
Yeah.
get to tacos type of KPIs. ACOS, yes,
Sure.
tacos will
Yeah.
become diluted, inside the
Yeah.
campaign. So having that very clear
Yeah.
structure helps a lot.
Uh, we found also that I mean, most sellers by this point had this experience, is, when you have 30 something targets in a campaign, eventually something monopolizes all the budgets.
Mm.
And at that point, you have 30 targets, but the bottom 10 are not getting any impressions. Even though you have you have relatively high clicks, they're just not getting impressions because Amazon is spending all that money onto the top 10, top 5, top 1. So that's another benefit that, we have found, where if we have one target per campaign, more flexibility, and Amazon has a easier decision to spend the money where we want them to spend it.
Very good point too. Exactly. So, and the Amazon advertising is changing almost every month. There is a new stuff coming in. There was the
Yeah.
Accelerate conference that I was in Seattle last week, and there were also again a lot of different things introduced. Maybe not specifically on advertising, but there are a couple of things about advertising too. So, which innovative advertising techniques that you have seen in the last maybe couple of months that started to change the way that you achieve success? Anything new that you are already started to use in the last couple of months?
I'm not going to give you anything too specific per se. In a lot of ways, we're trying to have a delayed response to these things. Yes, in the past there has been, when Amazon introduced videos, that was a big game changer initially. Like, we had a few cases where we just, for bidding at iPhone 11 when it was, the hype, we're paying 10 cents a click for a video at the top page of the search terms. It was great. Now, a lot of the current innovations, they're not as impactful. Obviously, when we have the vertical TikTok type video, obviously that's something that we try to monopolize when we can, when we have the assets from the clients. But where all the news bells and whistles are coming in, we usually try to have a delayed response, essentially because we find that a lot of those new shiny things are very distracting, and distracting to the human resources part as well, but mainly to the budgets, where we still might have a specific amount that the account can healthily spend on Amazon. But now we would have to take that budget from other things that are working, or the testing budgets, and put them into the new thing. So usually we try to be a bit more conservative, and when something new comes out, we try it out on the bigger accounts where we have much more flexibility, much more budgets, and essentially kind of have a trickle down effect to the other accounts, where the things that we saw work, we implement; things that didn't, we don't. My advertising team, they're constantly up in the Amazon advertising news, all the new changes, the way they changed the match type targetings, now that we need the modifiers and all these similar things. this is something obviously, when they change it, you have to adapt and implement and use, which is, we do. But like I said, don't have a very specific response to this question, because it's just, we usually wait. We usually wait and see. And so far that has been paying off quite well, I would say.
I agree with you for two reasons. One, I mean, it's very the profit is already
Yeah.
the most difficult to achieve now on Amazon. So you need to spend wisely, and there is a limited budget. And the
Absolutely.
second thing is there are things Amazon focuses may not necessarily be the best for the seller too. Maybe, for example, Amazon introduces the AI project manager. Okay, now that's
Yeah.
great. I mean, we love the idea, but in the list of top 50 complexities or difficulties on Amazon, maybe starting from a simple title change,
Yeah.
is this really the best thing that the sellers will use? Is an assistant or not? It's a big question. But I understand the point, and also it's not only about advertising, right? There are a lot of factors still
Right.
that are impacting advertising, which are not advertising.
Yeah.
And that's why being a full service account management or being like holistically addressing Amazon makes a lot of sense compared to just specifically focused
Yeah.
on
Oh,
advertising. So
I
what
mean,
are
just
these
last week,
things?
like,
What are
oh,
these
sorry.
things? No, go ahead.
It's
You
just
want
like,
to...
I'm not sure if you know, like, we had this in, I would say, I'm not sure if all of the accounts, at least half of the accounts, just last week in the US, I think like 2 or 3 days, Amazon was testing something with variations. All of our variations started splitting. The color names swatches have been changed. So now, we can only have like 20 color names in there, and it's when like all the advertising is based on specific variants of the specific variants, the specific child ASINs, and Amazon is kind of messing up the variations by testing. We're like, hey, this might be better. Wasn't better, most likely, and thankfully they reverted back. But I know my team has been working throughout the weekends to fix those innovations that Amazon has been launching on the variations, which thankfully they stopped and they reverted back. But yeah, just having the like you say, holistic approach and just seeing everything what is happening, because it absolutely impacted our advertising. Like, it was something that we needed to update our advertising campaigns and structures literally at that specific point when those changes happened. But sorry, I interrupted. I didn't hear your last question.
The question was very much relevant to that. So what affects advertising
Uh,
that is not advertising
Well,
itself?
there you
So you
go.
can talk
There you
about
go.
that.
Amazon deciding to do a bunch of random tests with the variations, and like, for example, when we let's say have a product, right, with a lot of color names, maybe different quantities, different prices. In a lot of cases, we try to kind of find the balance between having virtual real estate versus having very, very strong super listings with like level 3 or level 2 variation types. Um, and when we have the super listing, meaning that it has a lot of different variants, you obviously shouldn't advertise everything. So we essentially pick and choose, obviously after a lot of tests, and make sure which ones are the best performing on which keywords. But essentially, what comes out after the advertising structure is mature is that you're usually advertising maybe 10% or 15 or 20% of the ASINs in the variation. And the other ASINs, they are technically generating phantom profit, while the ones that you're advertising are maybe sometimes not profitable or sometimes negative profit, right? So essentially, when Amazon decides to make any changes to the variations without our input, the structure falls, because now you might be advertising to the negative a child ASIN that is now a separate variation, and you're not bringing that traffic to the main variants, to the ones that are selling alongside the one that you're advertising. So essentially, making sure that things are the way they're supposed to be, where advertising isn't concerned, directly impacts advertising. So that's I guess one of the things. But obviously, the SEO is a big part. The even the conversion part, right? For example, something that we really not like to do, like we really try to convince our clients that might not be too well into the Amazon game, because we might, let's say working with a brand for whom Amazon is one of 30, 40 different sales channels, right? And to actually get the translations to the A plus contents, for example, right? In US, we have Hebrew, we have Spanish that we need to translate every single A plus content to maximize the conversion on those audiences. And at the same time, for example, in Germany, right? No, I'm not sure at this point. I think there's like 5 or 7 different languages, including German and English, where you have to translate all the A plus contents to those languages if you really want to monopolize on the opportunity of those nationalities and those languages in those countries. So obviously, it's a conversion thing, but at the end of the day, the conversion that you have right in the listing, it directly impacts the advertising as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like a 1 point increase on CVR, like from 10 to
Yeah.
11 is already 10%
Oh, it's
impact,
yeah,
on the
absolutely.
ACOS. So
It adds up over time, really.
absolutely. So so Klaidas, you are running this now. You have decade of experience, 6 years with the full service
Not
account
yet the
management.
decade, but yeah,
Almost there. Almost there.
almost there.
So my question to you is like maybe you can share with us a recent nice success story or a case study that that you would like to share.
Yeah. So at this point in our agency, uh, I no longer personally manage the accounts. When I started, I was the one-man show, then one-man show with a few assistants, then one-man show with a small team, etc., etc. We do have quite a lot of really great case studies. I can share the ones that I personally touched. I think that's only fitting, and my team shares the ones on our website that they're fully responsible, because there are some where I'm no longer responsible and the team is just doing a great job. For example, we back in 2020, I started working with the toy brand. It was mid 2020, I think June 1st, maybe. And back then they were doing about $500,000 a year, or about $50,000 a month, $55,000 a month. Essentially, it was split between like 3 products or so. First month, we started working with them. We fixed a lot of things. It was a lot of things broken, a lot of terms of service violations, a lot of products suspended. Advertising was non-existent practically, which was obviously a big opportunity, low-hanging fruit. And next month we did 100K, essentially $30,000 more profit. 6 months later, we did 1.2 million in a month. So obviously 6 months later it was October, December. 1 year later, we did $19 million in a year. 2 years later, $30 million. Last year, we also did $30 million. Our niche, our category, which is something that's so unfortunate, because we were the best-selling toy on Amazon, like the entire Amazon.com, the best-selling toy. 2 years in a row, actually, for the fourth quarter. And we even got top deals where we had millions of sessions in a one day, where we have the top deal, and at that point it was the best top deal gets the spot on Amazon.com page, and we were obviously the best top deal, and for the entire 24 hours we were featured on the first page of Amazon, which is obviously brought a ton of traffic. Just last year with this brand, we had, in a span of 1 week, we had 3 days where we did over $1 million a day. And at this point, this is one brand, one product with a lot of different variations. That's one case study, I guess, that I'm still actually working with that client personally. Plus, obviously, a lot of my team is, because to manage full service, a $30 million account that's working US, Europe, Japan, Australia, etc. There's a lot to do. We have, for example, a client that we no longer work with, and this was I believe 10-month project or so. It was a electric stand-up desk. You know what I mean, right? You know, the ones that go up and down. So we started working with them in about October, or maybe no, I think we started working with them in like January, maybe 2022, maybe 2021, can't remember well, but it was about 100K a month or like 70K a month. We got them to the best-selling desk in Germany, and not the best-selling electronic desk. No, $300 to €500 product. We got them the best-selling desk in the entire German market, meaning that overperformed by unit sales every single other normal desk that was selling times cheaper during the summer period when offices don't usually expand, right? They don't usually buy more desks, and the traffic on our keywords have gone down by about 30 to 40% during the summer period. Our sales remained at about 700K a month, whereas all of our competitors just got absolutely vanquished. When the season came back up, we got them €2 million a month. And that's when we separated, shook hands, the contract ended, and we set them off on their way. But we got them the best-selling desk in Germany.
Amazing. I mean, I think, at the end of the day, these are all small and medium businesses,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Like
you make
it's
them,
life-changing. It's
yeah,
absolutely
it's
life-changing for them. Like
life-changing events, and
uh,
you contribute to that as a person, to
absolutely.
another couple of families or maybe a
Yeah,
lot of
absolutely.
workers.
They call me the magic man.
Yeah, very
And,
good.
but I say
Good
to
to
them,
hear.
there's no magic. It's like these cases, you know, where I describe it's, we're talking millions of dollars, and
Right.
obviously, yes, they're not, a dime a dozen. It's not something that's super common. But at the end of the day, obviously, those, when you see the actual impact on the family behind the business, because usually there's a family behind the business, it definitely gives more strength to the why, of the value and the things that you're providing as an agency. But we also have, well, at this point, numerous of clients, current clients, past clients, some clients that sold their businesses, where it's literally a very small family. It was a very small family business, or it was a one-man show business who also had a full-time job somewhere else. And when they had enough capital, or when the business generated enough capital to hire us, we got them from, and this is quite a usual case, from 20 to 30, $50,000 euros a month. We got them to the point where after 2 to 3 years, when we got into the cash cow phase of the products that they're launching, their businesses were generating anywhere from 30 to 50 to 60,000 euros or dollars a month in profit. Now, this is usually the profit after all the fees and something that they actually take home. Obviously, a lot of that capital is going back into the business to launch maybe new marketplaces, which we do with them as well. But we've seen how our clients' businesses evolved, or how our clients' lives have evolved. We had a client where we sold electric cables, but like for television, for super simple Me Too copycat products in UK. We started from 20K, we got them to 100K pounds in UK, to the second or third bestseller for those cables. We moved to Europe, then we moved to US. Eventually, we were doing 50 to 60, 70,000 euros a month in profit, and he sold his business. He exited, but he started living in UK, working at a shitty eBay company. As the business grew, he moved back to Lithuania. He got married, he got a child, he built a house. Like
And
the
he
whole
invited, I hope he invited you for dinner or something.
no, well, like we had a really great connection. He eventually sold the business because there was a lot of stress, and a lot of that stress was on his head to financially support, and he got an offer that he couldn't refuse. And I believe he might continue working in that business. But we see that throughout the years, we see that transition, that the work that we do, it directly has the impact for the business owners that we work with. Obviously, there's an impact, to the more global audience, the ones who are buying your products, but you can't really see that impact that well.
Well, in a way that they
Because
are
it's more spread
buying,
out.
right?
No,
If they are
absolutely.
buying the product, then they're
Absolutely.
also having some good life, right? So it's like a both sides,
Absolutely.
both seller and consumer should be happy. That's why it's a win-win. I'm gonna ask
Exactly.
you one more question, and then I'm gonna
Sure.
ask Klaidas to give us an e-commerce hack that all these Amazon sellers can maybe practically leverage, or they, and I don't know, they tell their people to work on it. So That will be the e-commerce sec coming after the question. And this is kind of like one of the questions that I really like the most, because it's about leveraging the artificial intelligence and tech. And I'm in the AI industry for the last 25 years now. And it's great to see everybody's like picking, using AI, utilizing AI. It becomes almost like an inevitable component, like that. You cannot just do things without AI. So what is the ways that you leverage AI within your organization today?
Yeah. So might sound a bit rude, but we don't like AI too much.
Okay.
Especially obviously everything that Amazon is doing with AI, it's more pain rather than benefit. We tried a lot of ways to the videos, the visuals, the copywriting with AI, and every single time we found that human touch is absolutely required, and usually it's very beneficial for ideas, but not for replacing the copywriter that we might need to hire, or the designer that we might need to hire. Now, AI or machine learning in the advertising software, absolutely beneficial, something every agency uses at this point. Now, we do use ChatGPT a lot, absolutely, and from bouncing off ideas, building product marketing plans, kind of clarifying on the target audience of the products, a lot of the things, writing different types of reports, making sure that the data is fully consolidated. I know my designer is using AI from time to time, but it's not necessarily to replace something, but it's to enhance, to get more ideas, to kind of not necessarily bounce back ideas, but we definitely do see ChatGPT and different types of softwares, on my team screen almost every day. But when it comes to actually, fully embracing it and replacing it, replacing, what currently works with AI, we didn't find it as effective, right? Whether it's copywriting, whether it's the visuals, what Amazon is doing with their suggestions, like literally, I think yesterday, one of our clients got an email from Amazon about confirming the changes that AI has, would make in their account. The email was received September 22nd or 21st, and the deadline to approve or deny the changes in the email was August 15th. And Amazon is saying, hey, make sure you approve or deny by the deadline, right? Because all of the other emails we would just, decline, because usually they are either implementing new things that just don't fit the product, or it's utter nonsense, or when they do any more significant change, now we have contribution problems and we can't make the change back, and it's an absolute nightmare. So like we said about the new features that Amazon is launching, right, in advertising, we usually wait. We found that, or I found that, we're trying not to chase the butterflies. We try not to change the shiny things. We have never done rebates, for example, never, with not a single one of our clients. And when Amazon cut the rebates off officially, nothing changed. For our clients, absolutely nothing changed. We actually had a slightly better performance, because the other Amazon sellers couldn't do rebates anymore, because their strategies and advertising strategies relied on rebates. So with AI, it's quite similar. We experiment. The team is definitely interested. Like, this is something you can't really get away from, and absolutely have to utilize one way or another. But it's usually to enhance and not to replace.
Sounds great. I mean, that's also a very valid, methodology what you are using here, and I would agree with most of it. But eventually, it's like
it's gonna get better.
VA, helping to write some content, but you shouldn't rely on it. Like, you should always have the human checking it, but at the same time, it can reduce the time of a content manager maybe by easily by 50%. That's why people love it. It's also a very limited benefit if you think about it. I mean, 25 years ago, there was no content manager. So what today's AI is only trying to replace things which are already created in the last
Yeah,
15, 20, 25 years. But eventually, in the next couple of years, I think there will be a lot of
absolutely.
changes
Like
in the world.
the AI, you know, we're saying AI, but realistically, it's multitude different companies doing a lot of different things. But overall, you know, the technology is getting better, and it's getting better quite fast. So I'm sure it will come a point where, you know, we can effectively increase the effectiveness of the team or replace some processes and replace some specific, you know, tasks, even creating content. Hopefully, I hope we get to that point. But I don't think it's there yet. And like we know what works, and there is a very specific formula that works on Amazon. The reason why we have such a high success rate is because we do things that work and that are tested through time, and the fundamentals essentially don't really change. The way, you
Exactly.
know, you use different tools, you know, the even you know, the hacks and the little strategies and the you know, I found this thing that, you know, is going to change, you know, the game, but it doesn't really change the game. For some sellers might, you know, if you don't have proper SEO optimization and you take care of that, it obviously changes the game a little bit. But at the end of the day, like there's no magic form, like there's no secrets, there's no magic behind it. It's just you're doing the things that are working. You're taking sure of taking care of the conversion. You're taking care of the traffic. You're taking care of the overall brand image, and you make sure you have a hell of a good product. And the
Absolutely.
rest, it figures itself out.
So absolutely, and thanks for that. Like the ideas, sharing this idea. So, what would be your maybe there's a final, point? What will be your e-commerce hack to share with our audience?
I think I will stick to Amazon maybe.
Oh, sure.
And I don't think this is specifically a hack, but I found that, and I've talked about this a few times, but surprisingly, very few people are talking about this, is the differences between the lightning deal and the 7 deal or best deal, for example.
Okay.
Um, we find that sellers, they're not thoroughly testing the lightning deals and the best deals because they don't really understand the purposes of those types of deals. Right? Obviously, you know, you can run coupons, you can run different promotions, like there are a lot of things, but fundamentally, the most powerful tools are the best deal for 7 days and the lightning deal. The
Okay.
lightning deal's purpose is to bring more traffic. Now, you already need to have a substantial amount of sales, daily, monthly sales, to utilize lightning deals effectively. Because the goal of the lightning deal is for you to get to the first or second, maybe third, but realistically it's first and second page of your product category. Now, if you can get to the first page of the entire deals page, now that's, you know, changes the game very, very well. But essentially, the goal is, let's say you're selling toys, you really want to get into the first or second deals page for toys on that day. If you can't get there, usually you're just converting your current audience better. But the goal for us is to get new people coming in, spontaneous shoppers. We want to get more top of the funnel people who are browsing, who are looking at different products. Like, hey, this is something that's interesting. I'm going to click on that. They click on it. Even if they don't buy during the deal, you can still retarget those people through DSP. You can still retarget them through display ads and so on. But usually what we found is that with high velocity products, we like to do, in a lot of cases, weekly lightning deals. What it gives us, you know, for the 12 hours during that 1 day a week, we get an additional influx of traffic from the deals page. These are people that don't know about your product. These are the people that wouldn't be looking for your product. These are the people who are not even looking at the search terms of your product, right? Because they would have found. Now, the purpose for this is to get more traffic, more top of the funnel, to retarget, right? We essentially find more people because in a lot of cases, when lightning deals work, we already not exhausted, but more or less capitalized on the audience that we can get through the keyword targeting. Now, 7-day deals, on the other hand, they will not rank well on the deals page because it's for the entire 7 days, right? The deals page is more spontaneous, 12 hours, 24 hours, top deals, and so on. The purpose of the 7-day deals, which if you're lucky, Amazon might allow you to run 70 deals, best deals once a month, is conversion and ranking. When you're running a 7-day deal, your conversion is increasing significantly. And those 7 days is usually enough to change your organic ranking. Now, if your product is good enough, meaning reviews, non-deal price performance, and obviously, the advertising impact on those specific keywords that you're currently ranking, when you run that best deal, your organic ranking in a lot of cases grows. Now, after that best deal, the keywords where you really fit in the higher brackets, you stay. And that obviously gives a natural added benefit of more organic sales, better advertising performance, and so on. On the products that we already have more or less all of the positions that we could realistically have. Now, obviously, we can get more. You can go to the giftables, you can go to a lot of more broad categories. But we find that if we run a 7-day deal on already high-performing products, in a category where they're already organically ranked almost a top 3, nonetheless, we found that the 7-day deal does obviously give us more sales because it's a lower price, but we don't really find that big of a benefit for organic ranking. So essentially, if our competitors aren't doing a lot of deals and it's not a fight to the bottom, not the race to the bottom, not fighting for that first or second position, it's usually a waste of money. Like, why would we do a discount if we're not getting the added benefit? So it's not just about the discount that you're doing, it's about the reasons why you're doing it. For 7-day deals, we want to get more organic ranking, and that's what we're focusing on, right? Your advertising campaigns for top of search for the keywords that you really want to rank during that deal. For the lightning deal, you're not really gonna be ranking better because of the lightning deal. What you are going to get is more traffic. If you already have high enough velocity, you're going to get more traffic. And obviously, now you have the ability to retarget that traffic that showed slight interest in your product with DSP and the display if you do that. So not really a hack. I'm not too much on the not too much of a hacks guy, but it's something that is one of the crucial fundamental things that we're doing that we found a lot of success in a lot of accounts. Not all of the accounts, obviously. It really depends on the product and the stage of the product. But I think that might be useful.
Absolutely. I think I should even change this to e-commerce hack to e-commerce strategies, because that's a strategy.
Well, hacks are popular.
A lot of this, the hacks, kind of the name is popular, but what I'm also interested is to hear these strategies, that because there is like 25 of them and people always forget things. And this is one of the things, not as you said, maybe 90, maybe 10% or 20% of the people know about it, but maybe only 2% of people are really doing that,
utilizing
lightning and 7-day deals. I don't think like many people are doing. But Klaidas, like, this was an amazing conversation. I learned a lot about many things too.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your success with AMZ Bees, and hope that you'll grow your teams and be even more successful. So thanks for joining the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.